want to help you avoid the biggest customer interviewing mistake I see founders make, and it has nothing to do with how you interview. The biggest mistake founders make when they're interviewing is they interview the wrong customers. So how do you know if you are interviewing the wrong customers? Well, if you are interviewing people across different customer segments, you are interviewing the wrong customers. Let me give you an example. So let's say we're going to build an app, and it is Pandora for exercise routines. So you don't get bored, it gives you this customized exercise routine every day. So if you're like most founders, you think, there are lots of people who could potentially use this app and who could benefit from it. So I could interview people who, let's say, go running at a gym. Or maybe it's new moms who want to lose the baby weight. Or someone who's overweight and is now activated in trying to lose some weight. Or maybe someone who's doing a pole dancing class or Zumba or something like that. You have all these different types of customers that you could potentially interview. Now, if you look at this scenario and you're not able to immediately tell who to interview, it's very likely that you're interviewing the wrong customers. So let's dive in and figure out who actually we should interview. The answer? You need to interview your early adopters. Now, to find out why this is, we need to go back to why exactly we're interviewing in the first place. Now, we're not interviewing to validate that there's a problem. In our example, you know that there's a problem with exercise being boring. I know there's a problem with exercise being boring, but that's not why we interview. We interview to validate that the world is ready to solve the problem. It's not enough that the problem exists. We want to test, is now the right time to build a business to actually solve the problem? And the way we know is if there are early adopters. So this is the healthy curve of growth for our company. And you'll notice it starts with early adopters. Without the early adopters, we can't grow at all. They're required for us to build a successful company. So who are these mythical people called early adopters? They are the people who are actively seeking a solution to the problem already. So if we go back to our Pandora for exercise example, we can get a sense of, which of these customers are early adopters? Which ones are trying to solve the exercise is boring problem right now? Is it the guy who's running on the treadmill? No. He's doing the most boring kind of exercise there is. So we don't need to interview him. He may ultimately be an early majority or a late majority for our product, but he's not an early adopter. He's not actively trying to solve the problem right now. How about the new mom who wants to lose the baby weight? Is she actively trying to solve the exercise is boring problem? Maybe, but we have no indication that she is, so she's not who we interview. We want to interview people who we think are actively trying to solve this problem. How about the person who's just trying to lose weight, who's just starting off on their journey? No, they're not. We have no indication, again, that they're actively trying to solve the problem. But the pole dancing exerciser, this person, they may be going to their pole dancing exercise classes because all the other types of exercises they've done are boring, and this feels like more fun. That's the person that we want to go interview. The person who we think is already trying to solve the problem, and we interview them to validate that they are actively trying to solve the problem so that we can tell if now is the right time to build a solution for it. So, what if you're saying, you know what, no one out there is actively seeking a solution for the problem I want to solve? Or worse yet, no one even knows that they have this problem. This is why we interview. Because if you can't find people who are actively trying to solve the problem, that means that you can't find your early adopters. If you have to educate the world that they have this problem, it doesn't mean that it's a bad idea or that it's not a problem. It just means that the world isn't ready to solve it yet. And that's why we interview. To test, is now the right time to build a company to solve this problem? So, early adopters are your people who are actively seeking a solution to the problem. And once you find those people, you've taken a huge step on the path to product market fit. If you want some help trying to figure out who your early adopters are and where to find them, the Focus Framework has a couple exercises that will help you with this problem explicitly. The first one I want to talk about is the adoption behavior curve. And it will outline exactly who your early adopters are and where you can find them if they exist at all. The second exercise that can lend you a hand is called Scale Your Segments. This is a spreadsheet that you enter in data about your early adopters so that you can get a sense of which one you should start on first if you have multiple potential early adopters to go interview. Now there's one other place you can get help on finding your early adopters that I'm really excited to tell you about. It is FocusCon. It's the first ever Focus conference, and it's December 1st, and it's on the topic of mastering customer interviews. Now I'm really excited about this because you can come. You can come because it's an entirely digital conference. So there's no flights, there's no hotels, there's no Uber rides, there's no jet lag. You can come from wherever you are in the world and you can attend. And if you come, you're going to get 4 hours of interactive interviewing workshops. This is not a webinar. This is interaction. I will be able to give you feedback. You're going to have access to actual mentoring, face-to-face mentoring, and networking with other people who come. You're going to get to see a live customer interview, and like I said, you can attend from anywhere in the world. So I hope you check it out, and I really hope that you join us for our first experiment with the FocusCon. So remember, my friends, you need to interview your early adopters to avoid making the biggest customer interviewing mistake.